Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, and this time I am building one here in the world of Copperdale, which is of course the world that we got in the high school years expansion pack. And it's been a little bit of time, basically. I mean, not a super long time, but a little while since I have built in this world, and that's because originally it had some really harsh shadows, and I found speed builds kind of difficult to watch when I would watch other people's, and I figured mine would be the same just because everything is just so dark and dim. But recently they had an update and it seems to have fixed the harsh shadows, but it still has like the same mood and atmosphere that the world had originally, because I kind of liked the moody feel of it. It was kind of mysterious feeling and I liked it, and I still think it has that without having such deep crazy shadows. So yeah, I'm really happy, and hopefully you guys like the house that I built here. I really wanted to build something that was kind of rustic basically, so I ended up using lots of browns in this build. I'm still using white windows just because I really like them. I really want to do a build where I use a different color of window though. I really need to make it a priority because it's something I want to do. But for this one, I really wanted to have the contrast because I knew I was going to use a lot of more rustic looking furniture and a lot more like browns and blacks and stuff. So I wanted to have the contrast with the windows. And then here I'm just playing around with what colors I'm going to use. I was trying to use this exterior wall texture that came from Seasons with the stone and the sort of wood paneling. But I ended up not really liking it for this particular build. Instead, I used a brick that came from high school years in combination with just a base game siding in this white color. And I think it actually looks really nice, and yeah, I think it's a good combination. So hopefully you guys like that too. And then for the landscaping, I basically just used a lot of greenery with white flowers and different terrain paint. And you will see at the very end of the video that all of the terrain paint, except for this first pathway that I created leading to the front porch, that stayed, but everything else deleted. And so it's so annoying. I've been having that glitch so much recently, and a few of you guys have reminded me to just save my builds once they're done to my library or something. That way they're saved with the terrain paint, and then if it gets deleted, I can easily place my builds without them without the terrain paint needing to be redone or something. So I need to remember to do that because it's something I never do. So yeah, I appreciate that. For the fence here in the front, I actually used a live edit objects fence that you guys can find with high school years, and I think it's such a cute fence. It has some really nice leaf designs and different little cutouts in it, and I think it looks really good. So I thought that was really nice to put here at the front. But for the back of the build, I wanted to have a bit more privacy, so I just used a regular fence. So you'll see that here in a little while. Right now I'm just picking out some trees. I mostly used trees that came from, I think, either base game or high school years, but I also used some that came with the werewolves game pack just because I really like the mossy texture of the bark and stuff, and I think it looks really good in this world. And I don't know, it just the trees work here basically because this is more of an evergreen sort of environment, and they're all evergreen trees. And so I sized some of them up, or no, I think I sized all of them down, but I scaled them at different levels basically to have some different heights, and then I just used some different bushes and stuff, and I think it looks so good. The big tree at the very left end of the lot, I think it came from Cottage Living. I might be wrong about that, but I've used this tree in a previous build for a tire swing hanging from it, and I thought it looked so good, so I wanted to use it again. And so I ended up using a tire that came from, I think I used the one from Eco Lifestyle. You'll see me place it here in just a little while, but you can also find it in the live edit objects. And I just rotated it using the tool mod and raised it up a little bit. And then I used some of these poles that we got from the toddler stuff pack, and then I made it look like it was hanging from the tree, and then I hid a seat inside of it. So your Sims can actually sit inside of the tire, but they can't swing because there's no animation with any of the regular seats. But it works, and I think it looks really good. The seat that I placed though came from, I think, Spa Day. It's just a tiny little poof sort of ottoman thing, but unfortunately I couldn't get my Sims to sit on that one. So I think if you raise that particular seat up, it doesn't work, because I tried another stool and it worked. I just ended up using one of them that came from high school years. So if you do have high school years, the seat that I placed in there will work. And of course, if you have Eco Lifestyle, then the tire will be there too. But there might be one from Strangerville. I'm forgetting if there is just a single tire or not, but yeah, I think it looks really good. And I thought for this sort of like family home, a tire swing would be perfect to have in the front yard. And then I included a few different activities in the backyard, like a swimming pool and some garden related items like the flower arranging table. And then there's also some vertical planters that came from Eco Lifestyle, and then some regular planters. I used the ones that came from Werewolves, I believe, just because they're super rustic looking. There's also some rustic looking ones that came from Outdoor Retreat. So if you don't have the Werewolves pack, then that one's a good option. And then there's also the swing set. I used the one that came from the Little Campers kit just because I thought it would work perfectly for the style that I was going for. And then I also used the toddler slide, so I thought that would be kind of like a nice activity to have. And so yeah, there's lots of different stuff for your Sims to do, and I think the backyard's just like super cute. I really also like the area for the outdoor dining table. The vertical planters are also there too, along with the flower arranging table, and I think it just looks so good. Recently I did a collab with Bojana Sims, and I used like the same sort of like structure that came from Get Together and windows and stuff to make like the same sort of structure. So if you guys saw that build, then you saw that, and I was just really inspired to do that again because I just really liked the way it looked. So I decided to bring it to this build. Here I'm working on the floor plan. The house ends up having a playroom, which I'm really happy about. I had this extra like piece over here that I'm kind of working on right now, and it was a weird shaped room and kind of small, so I thought it wouldn't be best for like a bedroom, but I thought for a little playroom it would be nice. And then there's 3 rooms for some children of the house, so I did a kids room, a toddler's room, and a teens room. And then the parents room is downstairs, and so they have like a huge like master suite. And then of course there's all of the other living spaces like a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, and then there's also a extra living room that's more of like a formal living space. Just because I had the extra space for it, I decided to include it. But of course, if your Sims have different skills or interest or something, you could turn it into like a skill building room or an extra bedroom if you have even more Sims. It could even be like a grandparent suite or something. There's definitely the space for that, but I thought having a formal living space would be nice. You could probably even put like a piano in there maybe. I don't know, I tried placing a piano in there, but unfortunately they're just all so big, and I didn't think it would be, I guess, appropriate to have a keyboard in there. Of course, I could have used Move Objects and like stacked a couple of side tables together and hid the keyboard inside of it and made a standing piano that way. I've definitely done that a few different times, and it looks good and it functions. But I think for this build, it really wasn't what I was going for. I do hope though at some point we get a regular standing piano with some sort of pack, or with base game. That would be even better. So hopefully that happens, because that would be really nice. But anyways, yeah, here I'm just continuing with the floor plan, getting it all sorted. I think it's pretty much all fixed. I'm really happy that I didn't continue with the landscaping because I made a few changes and it didn't really turn out exactly the way I thought it was going to here at the back. I mean, it's still like pretty much the basic idea or basic shape that I was going for, but it's a little bit different. And yeah, I don't know, I think it looks really nice. I think it's a really nice shape of a home, and I think it suits this world really nicely. And I like these Seasons windows with builds in this world. I think like Seasons just looks like it belongs here. So I thought that went together really nicely. And yeah, I think the basic shape of the house is all put together. But for the family, I was trying to think of their personalities, and I think the parents of the home are professionals. I think they're very busy and I think they work a lot. I think one of them is maybe like a doctor or something, and the other one is a professor. I think, I don't know. I didn't really include anything specifically in this house to represent specific careers, but that's kind of the thought that I was going for while I was decorating the home and thinking of the Sims that live here. But for the kids of the house, I did give each of their rooms different sort of personalities and decorating styles, especially the kids sim. I really had fun with that room because I went for a red color scheme, which is something that I don't do too often, but I think it looks so good in there. And I just imagine the kid being like the sweetest kid in the entire world and having like the biggest heart and loving like every animal and probably finding every stray in the world and bringing them home. And I thought that was such a cute idea. And I thought it went along with like the whole red color scheme because I was like, maybe they just have a big heart basically. And so red heart, I don't know, it kind of went together in my mind pretty nicely. So I think that room ends up being so cute, and I really had fun like finding the different decorations and, you know, picking out the different items for that room. And I think I also included an arts and crafts table in there as well. And then for the toddler's room, I created a little like woodland toddler room, and I think it looks so adorable. I used this wallpaper that we have from Base Game that has like this plaid detail at the top and then the wainscoting at the bottom, and I thought that was so perfect. And then of course we have really nice like woodland decorations like the bear chairs, and some of the decorations from Base Game for toddlers rooms is perfect for that. So that one came together really nicely. And then for the teens room, I did more or less like a gray and black color scheme. I guess it's just more like a moody teens room. I didn't have any specific sort of interest. There's a few like music related items in there, but I was trying to create more of just like a general teens room. So you could easily like add more color or different decorations depending on what the teen is into. But I think it's a really nice teenager's room. But yeah, over here I created the tire swing. So you'll notice that the seat that I placed inside of it is the one that I was talking about that does not function. I even took the seat and moved it out in the middle of like an open space and raised it up to see if the sim could use it. Because I was like, maybe the tree is blocking it, or maybe I'm not using the right tire that I've used before, or maybe it's too close to the fence, or I thought that maybe something was interrupting it, but I just brought it out into a nice open space, raised it up, and the sim couldn't use it. So I used the tiny little ottoman that came from high school years in the black color, and then raised that up, and that one worked just fine. And so it's a black color, so it kind of blends into the tire. You can still see it enough to click on it, because you have to click on that if you want any sim to sit there. You can't actually click on the tire or anything because it's not an interactive object. But yeah, here I'm just adding a little extra space on the back porch. I really like the way that looks, and I really like the way the swimming pool looks back here too. I put like a floaty in here. There really wasn't like a lot of room to place a diving board or anything. I really hope that at some point we get a more realistic looking diving board. I think that would be a lot easier to place on a swimming pool, because the one that we have came from, I believe it's from Get Together, but it's really tall. I think there's like 2 or 3 different variations of it, but they're all basically the same structure, just different styles. And they're really tall, and I find them hard to use just because they kind of block the view in certain builds, and they just seem so just out of place and weird looking sometimes. I mean, sometimes I think they fit perfectly and I love using them, so it would be nice to get a different, more realistic, classic looking diving board basically. But yeah, here I'm adding a couple of lounge chairs. I really like these ones that came from my wedding stories. I think the like little wooden slats on them look really nice, and like the colors are nice too. So I've been using them a lot recently. But yeah, over here is where I created the structure that I was talking about that I did in that collab recently. I did this same structure in the backyard of that build, and I just really wanted to do it again because I thought it looked so nice. This one isn't identical to the one that I did before. I just, it's kind of similar. I guess I didn't add the windows. Yeah, maybe I didn't add the windows in here. The one I did before, I tried to make it look more like a repurposed greenhouse or something. This one's a little bit different, but I did the same sort of decoration with the lights. These lights came from the Little Campers kit. Is that the right name for the kit? I keep like messing up the name of that kit. But anyways, the Little Campers kit came with these string lights, and they're really nice because they don't like snap to a wall or at a specific level or anything. So you can easily just place them and use the 9 key to raise them up to the level that you want. Of course, I use the tool mod to get a little bit more precise with like the size and the height of them. So I can never recommend that mod enough. It's very useful. Yeah, over here between these lounge chairs, I placed a little table with this nice little decoration and then an umbrella. I thought this looked really nice by the swimming pool as well. And then I placed a live edit objects planter over here just for some extra decoration. And then these are the regular planter boxes that I was talking about, but they came from the werewolves pack. So they're nice and rustic looking. I think there's even more swatches that are even more rustic looking, but I thought these ones were nice. And yeah, I think this looks really cute over here. And then here I'm picking out some activities for the kids. So I found this swing set. This swing set was actually really difficult to find. I ended up having to filter by the kit itself, and I don't know where it is exactly in the catalog, and I don't know why it's not in the outdoor like activities panel or whatever you call that tab where the other swings are. So I'm not sure, does it not function like a swing? Is it just a seat? or is it a functioning swing set? I've never actually played with it before, so I'm not sure, but it looks like it's supposed to be a swing. So let me know if it even functions as a swing. But anyways, I thought the style of it and everything worked perfectly for what I was going for the build. So it works nicely, but of course, if it doesn't function like a swing, then maybe the one that came from like Island Living would work really nice because it looks really rustic, or even the one that came from Seasons would work great too because it comes in like a plain white swatch, and I think even a plain black swatch that would work perfectly for this build. And then I just have some terrain paint that leads around to the side of the house. I did a combination of like dirt, gravel, and sand, and so hopefully there's like enough space in the sand for your Sims to actually play and interact in the sand. I wanted there to be some so your Sims could like build sand castles and play in the sand and all that kind of stuff. And then I also ended up including a basketball hoop out here, which I thought was nice. I don't often include basketball hoops if there's not a garage, just because I love how realistic it looks with the basketball hoop above the garage door. Like, that's such an American thing to have on your home, and I love the way it looks for family homes. I think it's super cute, but I had the space here, so I decided that it would be nice to have it just like freestanding by itself anyway. So yeah, I thought that looked really nice, and I thought it added a nice activity. But here, moving on to the interior. So this is the extra living room that I was talking about. There's no TV in here. It's just like a formal sitting space, and I actually really like the way I decorated it. I used these couches that came from the Maximalist kit, and I really have not used these couches at all. Basically, I used them once when that kit was first released. I created an apartment using that kit, and then I really haven't touched the objects that much since. Maybe like a couple of them, but most of them I have not used. And so I thought these couches actually looked really nice in this brown color, and I thought it like matched the curtains with this fireplace, and everything just felt so cohesive. And then here I'm using the tool mod to hang a painting on top of the fireplace, and I thought this one that came from Cottage Living like worked perfectly for the build and everything. And I just think this room came together so nicely. It's pretty simply decorated. Like, there's not a whole lot of like clutter and extra details, but it still feels, I don't know, I like this room, so hopefully you guys like it too. But there, you may have noticed I was looking at the pianos, trying to see if one fit in here, but they're just so big, and I don't know, it wasn't working for me, so I decided not to. But of course, there's other activities in the game that you might want to include in here, like a chess table would be nice. I do end up placing a chess table on the back porch, but maybe a don't wake the llama table or something, just to make the room a little bit more like useful or something. But I don't know, it's nice to have a pretty room, so I thought it worked pretty well. But yeah, over here is going to be the entryway. The entryway is fairly simple. I end up putting a side table over here to the right of the door, and then like entryway clutter, like a coat rack and an umbrella rack and some artwork and a little seat that I imagined your Sims would like sit down and put on their shoes or whatever before they leave for the day. And then here I'm just adding some decorations to that side table. I thought this side table worked so nicely. It came from the Jungle Adventures game pack, but I think the items that came in that game pack are really nice and rustic looking, and they kind of work really nicely in different styles, even though they're supposed to be more of like a South American looking furniture design. And so I think even in this home, which is very much more like American looking, I thought looked, yeah, pretty nice. Here I hung up this mirror. I thought it was a bit much to have immediately right when you walked in the door, and so I decided to move it into the dining room instead, and I just hung up a piece of artwork right here. And then this is the little seat that I was talking about for your Sims to like put on their shoes, even though they won't do that, but we can imagine, and the idea of it's cute, I think. And then over here is going to be the dining room. So for the dining room, I used this table. I think it came from maybe Cats and Dogs or something, I'm not exactly sure, and I think actually the chairs did too. But anyways, I thought the combination of them looked really nice, and I liked the combination of some more of the traditional items with modern items, and then some items that look more rustic. And I don't know, I was really trying to add a variety of different like decorating styles or decoration styles, yeah. But I think somehow they're still cohesive and work well together. You guys will have to let me know if I achieved that. But I felt like this interior was kind of refreshing because I've been doing a lot more like more light and airy interiors. I guess I did a couple of more autumn themed builds recently that have more darker colors, but I've been trying to increase my range of interior decorating colors, basically, because I feel like I tend to do the same thing over and over. I mean, not like the exact same thing, but I get in like a groove and like a favorite kind of color scheme, and I kind of continue with that for a while. And so I want there to be more variety for me and for you guys. So I try my best. But anyways, over here is going to be the kitchen. I ended up actually moving this sink in this half bath because I realized it was going to be in the exact same direction as the sink in the kitchen. And I thought the placement of the sink in the kitchen was more important than the one in the bathroom. And I really do not like the way it looks when you're hovering around a build in The Sims and the sinks are like so close together facing the same direction. And same with beds. It like drives me crazy. Let me know if you guys are the same way. But I know I've mentioned that a few different times, but I really try to avoid it because I feel like if I think that, other people are going to think that too. But yeah, over here in the kitchen, I ended up going with these overhead cabinets that came from Jungle Adventure, and then the lower cabinets actually came from Cottage Living, and I think the browns are actually pretty close in color, and I felt like the cabinets were nice and rustic looking, and I felt like the ones that came from Jungle Adventure weren't going to look as rustic, but I didn't want to use the overhead cabinets that came from Cottage Living just because they all have, or most of them have curtains in them, and I really wish that they didn't, because for most builds, the curtains I don't think look very good. Even in this swatch where the curtains are cream color, which is still really nice and neutral, but it's just still, all the curtains I think are a bit much, so I decided not to use it, but I think the combination of these ones actually look pretty good together, so I was happy about that. Here on the island I also have a stove. It came from Dream Home Decorator, and then the oven right here to the right of the sink also came from Dream Home Decorator, so I thought that looked pretty nice. And then I used black appliances, which I think I've been doing a little bit more often recently because I realized I always go for like white or ones that look like they're supposed to be stainless steel or something, but I think the black is a nice way to mix it up. Sometimes I go for more like colorful options, which is fun too. But yeah, I also included a little coffee bar over here, and I was thinking it would be a really nice story for one of the parents to be really into like living in the like smaller town. I feel like these parents probably used to live in a bigger city. Maybe they lived in like San Myshuno or something, and they still work there, and then they commute back to Copperdale where they currently live here in this house with their family. And so I feel like one of them maybe has a dream of opening up like a bakery or a coffee shop or something. And so that's what I was thinking by adding the coffee bar. And so they're really into making delicious treats, and they're always cooking and stuff when they're at home and making like fancy coffee drinks and stuff like that. And so they're really dreaming and wanting to open up like a tiny little shop here in town and leaving the busy lifestyle of the city and not commuting anymore. And I don't know, I think that's kind of like a nice like idea and a nice story for one of the parents. And I also think maybe the other one is really into like the outdoors and gardening. Maybe both of them are, and more into like hiking and nature. And that's why they ended up moving here, just because they were so drawn to this more like rural sort of woodland lifestyle, but it still has a bit of a town and a bit of a life to it. And their kids are getting older, and the high school is right here, so that's perfect because we don't have high schools anywhere else, unfortunately. It would have been really cool if we would have got high schools like we do with like restaurants, and then you could send your kid to different high schools and then you could build them in different worlds. That would have been really nice. I really hope that if we ever get hotels, that's how they function. That way we could build them in any world. We could build them, you know, in any different style, run them, visit them, own them, those sorts of things I think would be so cool. I think people would really enjoy that, and I would really enjoy that. So I'm hoping that hotels will be a thing within like this next year. We'll see though. I guess it's just something I want. Let me know, do you guys want hotels? I just really want to build hotels. I built several so far, but none of them actually function as a hotel. I always have to set them as like a pool lot or like a generic lot, or I don't know, something that kind of functions a little bit nicely for what I want it to be. But it's not actually a hotel. Anyways, over here is going to be the parents' bedroom. So for the parents' bedroom, it's pretty simply decorated, but I thought that the furniture pieces that I chose in here worked nice for the style. And I thought this bed was perfect. It came from Eco Lifestyle, and I think like the browns and like the colors of it and the kind of like rustic bedding worked really nicely. I also put a fireplace in there, which I thought was pretty nice, with a TV on it, so the Sims could like lay in bed and watch TV and that kind of stuff. And then over here is their ensuite bathroom. Their bathroom is a pretty simple bathroom, but it's actually a really good size. It was a pretty big bathroom, so I was able to fit like a full counter over here with lots of decorations, and I really liked those wall decorations with the like mounted vases and the like sticks with flowers coming out of them, whatever you would call that decoration. I thought it looked really good in there on either side of the mirror, and I thought it brought like a little bit of like color to it, so I thought that was pretty fun. And then here I'm moving on to the second floor, just kind of playing around with the color of the stairs. I always try to find a stair that matches the like wood floor that I'm using, and I don't always achieve it, but I think I kind of found ones that worked closely. So that's yeah, something that I always try to do. Here I'm just adding a rug and some artwork to the hallways, trying to make them feel fully decorated, but it's a hallway and it doesn't really need a whole lot. And plus, if you just add too many things, then your Sims might have trouble navigating through it because it's such a small space. There I was just adding a toddler potty in the downstairs bathroom, and I quickly placed one up here in the upstairs bathroom, even though I haven't decorated it, but I didn't want to forget it because I so often forget about toddler potties, and so I try to remember them. But yeah, this is the wallpaper that I was talking about that has the plaid texture on it with the wainscoting on the bottom, and I thought the brown worked perfectly, and this bed that came from Eco Lifestyle again worked perfectly for the rustic look. And I just love this one because it has the little stuffed animal in the corner, and then it has that little piece that's like hanging at the end of the bed, and so I thought that looked nice. But yeah, for this room I was basically just trying to find anything that looked like a woodland animal or in a more rustic looking color or texture, and I think I achieved that. I especially really like the shelf that I just placed over here because it has like mountains in the background, so I thought that was perfect. And then this bear chair that came from base game, and then of course some different decorations that came from the little campers kit worked perfectly, or outdoor retreat, like the lamps that I ended up putting next to the bed came from outdoor retreat, and they work perfectly in my opinion. And then this base game little dresser also works nicely because it has animals on each of the boxes, and most of them are woodland creatures. Not all of them. I think there's like a monkey and a dog and maybe something else that doesn't quite work, but there is like a bear and a bunny and a fox, which works nicely. But yeah, these lamps I thought were so perfect. And also these little wall hangings, they're supposed to be Christmas decorations, but the evergreen trees I thought worked perfectly as wall art in this toddler room. And then also this bookcase worked nicely. I just felt like I was finding so many good things, and it felt like a really nice toddler room. The last toddler room that I created was the black and white one, if you guys saw that, and I was kind of depressed by it because it just felt so bland and drab and kind of depressing for a toddler space. And so I was kind of just like, I'm never doing that again. But it was fun to try something different and, you know, doing something that I haven't done before. But for a toddler room, I need just some more personality, and black and white does not give the personality. Like this one is pretty muted in colors, but it still has way more personality with like the patterns, and like the brown has like a richness to it that the black and white just does not have. So I don't know, I didn't like it. But anyways, over here I just added a pillow to the bed. I wanted to cover up the pillow that was in here originally just because it had like some colors that I didn't think matched, and plus the little campers kit came with like the most perfect pillow with the it has like the trees and the like Bigfoot character and stuff on it, so I thought that worked really nicely. Here I realized that the walls were like not showing up like they were in the other room, and I couldn't figure it out, but I ended up finding out that's because I had two of like the roofs layered on top of each other, and when that happens the walls disappear even though they should be there, because usually that only happens when there's another wall around a wall. So like if you have a half wall on the exterior, then your walls won't show up when they're in cutaway mode. But thankfully I realized that it was just because I had two of the roofs layered on top of each other. So I was able to fix it really easily. And yeah, because I didn't want the walls to disappear there. But anyways, this is going to be the kid's room that I was talking about. This is the kid that is like obsessed with animals, obsessed with helping everybody bring home, you know, they bring home strays, and they love basically. They're just a big-hearted kid, and so I used a lot of red decorations just to kind of show that part of their personality, even though I'm not really sure if red shows that. But it was fun to do a red themed kids room because I don't think I have really done this color scheme in a kids room before. Maybe I've done red once or twice, but usually I go for like green, orange, pink, purple, blue, green, those sorts of colors, but red not too often. So I thought it was really fun, and I think we have some really nice decorations that go with that, like these curtains that came from high school years I thought were pretty perfect. And then there I just used a poster from Cats and Dogs. It's supposed to be a poster for like a vet clinic, but I used it in here thinking that this kid maybe was at the vet. Maybe they had like a cat or something at some point, or a dog. I don't think they have one now because I didn't include any animal items, but maybe they were at the vet helping one of the strays that they brought home, and the vet was kind enough to like give the kid a poster because they could see how interested they were in the animals and like what they do at the vet hospital. And so maybe they were just like getting rid of one of the posters or something like that. So I thought that was a nice idea. I really liked this open wardrobe that I created using these kids clothes. I really hope that at some point we get more hanging kids clothes because it's really nice to have some, and these ones I thought looked really cute, and I'm just finding some different decorations to put over here on this little table that I created using some of these modular shelves that came from high school years. So I thought that looked really cute, and I also really like the ladybug rug in there. Thought that was pretty adorable. But yeah, here I was just messing with the roofs, fixing it so the walls weren't partially cut away the way that they were doing before, because I didn't quite like the way that looked. But yeah, over here is going to be the teenagers' room. So like I mentioned, I went for like black and gray and white. For a teen's room, I like this color scheme because it feels moody, kind of just like a moody teenager, but for a toddler room, it just does not work. Plus, we just have really nice decorations for teenagers that go along with this color scheme a little bit more, I think. Plus I added like posters and stuff that bring in some like other colors and a few different decorations. So I wasn't strictly trying to stick to black and white like I was that toddler room. So I guess that's probably why I like it a little bit more. But anyways, over here, I really like this area where I have the guitar and this chair that came from high school years. I think is so cool. And then also the skateboards on the wall, and then those little shelf decorations that came from Dream Home Decorator I thought looked really nice in here. And then over here, I really wanted to have a dresser, also a computer desk, and so I used this one tile computer desk that I thought fit in the space really nicely. I also gave this teen a really nice computer, and I forgot earlier, but I was also thinking while I was decorating this room that maybe the teen like secretly streams, like their parents like aren't into that sort of thing. They don't know about it, and they don't know that the teen is like secretly making money online or anything, and so they have no idea, and they probably wouldn't approve. I doubt the teen's making like a lot of money yet. Maybe they will in the future, and so even if the parents were to know, they probably wouldn't take it that seriously yet. They really want the teenager, you know, to go to college and probably get like a real job, you know, quote unquote a real job. Maybe they want the teen to follow in their footsteps of being a doctor or a professor, or maybe they want the teen to be a lawyer, you know, really like professional job basically. And so I thought that was a fun idea. And then over here is going to be that playroom that I was talking about. So honestly, if you have another kid in the house, you could easily turn this into another bedroom if you really wanted to. But since it was small and kind of an awkward shape, like I said, I wanted to just kind of do something a little bit different and make a playroom. And I tried to find activities that would work in here and that your Sims children could use. It was a little bit difficult because I used the platform to raise it up a little bit, and so certain items kept dropping down to the regular floor height and not the platform height, so it was kind of frustrating, but I think I made it all work, and I really just wanted this space to feel playful and like a kid has decorated it, like it's not supposed to be super matching or anything like that. So I just tried to pick decorations that looked more like a kid would want it in this space, basically. Over here, I decided to get rid of these chairs and place some poofs instead, just because they took up less space and didn't feel so like bulky in that area. And then I ended up using those same shelves that I used in the teen room that came from Dream Home Decorator in here, but I used them in some brighter colors, and I thought that looked really nice. And I just added some different decorations up on top of them. And yeah, I think this room just ended up being super cute and very playful. Hopefully the tent works nicely. I did scale it down a little bit, and I also put a dollhouse in there. I'm not sure if there's any activities that your Sims children do inside of it, so I'm not sure if the dollhouse will block it, but if it does, then you could just remove the dollhouse because it's not totally necessary to have in there if there is like things that your kids can do in there. And also, even though I raised it up, adult Sims can walk up there. I used my playtester Sim to walk up there to see if their head would be like cutting through the ceiling or anything, but they had plenty of room, so it was no big deal at all. Over here is going to be the bathroom that all of the kids share, so it's just the upstairs bathroom. It's pretty similar to the downstairs ones. I'm just adding some different decorations around it. It has a full shower tub combo, toilet, sink. It also has a toddler potty, which is definitely very important. But yeah, this is basically it for the build. I'm going to add a few different extra details here on the exterior and going to fix the terrain paint. As you can see, it has all disappeared, which is very unfortunate, but I tried to replace it as best as I could. Hopefully it looks more or less the same as it did originally. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this build. I hope you guys do enjoy the screenshots. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow, and the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day to leave behind your troubles. There's a new day, and it will set you free. There's a new day to get you through your struggles. I will always